Welcome back to our Two Touch podcast mini-series where me, Matty Downing, and the co-founder Alex Woolerton will speak to people that we know from our kind of careers in football, as coaches and as players. We're going to speak to some parents, we're going to speak to some coaches, and we're also going to speak to some players that we've played with as well.
On today's episode, we're very lucky to be joined by ex-professional footballer, current academy coach, and parent Jason Blunt. Jason has played in the Premier League for Leeds United on multiple occasions. He's also played abroad, and at one point he was the manager of Leeds United under-23s.
I would say my coach style is probably like the personality, vibrant, exciting. I expect people to play with flair and enjoy themselves. Come back from my under-18s game, lads had got off the minibus, I decided to get on the minibus, pretend I'm driving. Kid in front and it jumped forward and knocked him over. What are you doing now? So from Leeds, I worked my way up the coaching ladder. I got more experience.
It's interesting because when you speak about your career, that sounds like such a crazy journey.
So, Blunty, how are you? Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, great, and it's great to see you doing well, guys, and hopefully building your connections and spreading everything that you've learned over the years.
Yeah, no, definitely. And obviously for those people that maybe don't know you as well as we do, could you just talk us through a little bit about, your playing career and just take us from the start, really?
Well, I'll start right from the start. So as a kid, I was born in Cornwall, Penzance, so it doesn't get any further down south. Predominantly played rugby.
Yeah.
So a bit of a uneasy background. I got adopted when I was 8. So I moved up to Yorkshire with my grandparents. So from then on, I started playing local football like loads of these kids now. So I played for a local grassroots team called Ings Lane in between Doncaster and Barnsley. But at that time, you'd go on a trial at different clubs. You didn't sign for a club until you were 14. So every school holiday I would go to Man United, Everton, Leeds, Tottenham. So I went through a whole host of clubs, and at the age of 14, I loved Leeds. Yeah, there was an old coach, Eddie Beaglehone was there, who's recently just passed away, was very influential on me signing at Leeds. So yes, signed for Leeds at 14, went as a scholar. So I was a scholar at Leeds as a 15-year-old, because I was at August birthday, so left home as a 15-year-old. Played with some great players at that time. So in my YTS programme, there was me and Andy Gray, Archie's dad, Nicky Burnout at Westlife. So we had some great players at the time. Made my debut as an 18-year-old in the Premier League against Middlesbrough. Never expected actually to play that morning. Turned up on the bus. We was in digs in Barrack and Helmet, caught 2 buses in, A64, so come in, bus, and I got there and somebody said, you're on the bench. So it was a sort of strange day, national day, so it would have been next week I made my debut. John Lukic got sent off, so Lucas Radibi ended up going in goal.
Yeah.
And I came on at half-time, so
crazy, no?
it was...
How did you do?
As soon as I got it, went down the wing, took 2 players on, crossed it in. Brian Dean.
Nice.
Brian Dean got brought down and McAllister missed the penalty, so lost 1-0. But on their team, I mean, they had Juninho, Branco, Ravanelli was all in the squad.
Wow.
So it was a fantastic start, but straight after I had to go in and clean their dressing rooms. I still got the team sheet from the dressing rooms in my scrapbook.
Yeah. So
then at the same time, I was playing England under-18s. So I was there every week, and the same England team as me at the time was Rio Ferdinand, Heskey, Owen, Lampard, Carragher.
Wow.
So we had a great team, and things were going well for me. So played the next game against Southampton, full debut. I think there was me, Speed, McAllister as a centre midfield. So I did extreme.
Not a bad little 3 in there, that is it.
Yeah, so a good start, but then gradually sort of took its toll. I probably got a bit ahead of myself at the time, got a little bit carried away, thought I'd already made it. Yeah. So George Graham came in from Howard getting there, leaving, and I went on a different pathway. I was told that I wasn't no longer wanted, so I went to Blackpool, signed a 2-year deal at Blackpool, and again, probably I don't know the reasons why, probably a bit unsure. Did my family background affect where I was at? So I signed for Blackpool, did 2 years, made my debut against City at Main Road. Got asked to mark, forgot the name of the midfielder now, Dickoff, centre midfield. absolutely rung me ragged, 32,000 at Main Road. I think I got brought off on 60 minutes.
That's your leveler, isn't it?
Yeah, so run me ragged, and to be fair, I got the brunt of that game off of it, and I found that hard to take. As a young, I think I was 20-year-old, having that responsibility, and probably not the guidance I needed after that when I was still young. I found that tough to take. So I left after I signed a 2-year deal, but left after about 10 months. And Bobby Davison was my agent at the time, so I was quite fortunate. I went on trial to Italy, and it was something I needed. I went on trial to a couple of clubs, and a team called Castellaneta took me. There was lower league, I think there was Serie D at the time. Right. But it was a great club, so I ended up staying there for a year. Loved it, loved the culture. Yeah. It was warm, it was everything. They trained in the afternoon. I'd go to the beach in the morning, get on my Vespa, go to train in the afternoon.
Sounds great.
Sounds good, doesn't it? Yeah.
It was good, but I learned a different culture. It was, I learned the language. I learned, my diet became so much better. I learned how you should, because even though they were Serie D, they were so much more advanced than Leeds in the Premiership. When Leeds won the Premiership at Ellen Road, they was having fish and chips and peas, and
it's crazy.
It was a fantastic. After that, I was due to come home, but another Italian club, a league higher, Serie C, Grottaglia signed me, so I went out there for another year. So again, loved it, loved the experience, but at the time I still had a daughter at home, so I needed to come home, and it wasn't enough to stay out there and without seeing me. So I came home and signed for Scarborough, was in the conference. Absolutely great club, played there with some great managers, Neil Thompson, Russell Slade. They were full time. It was a chance to get my career back on track. So played with them. I made about 100 appearances for Scarborough. So I loved it. It was full time. It wasn't about the money. It was about every day waking up, and I ended up making a move from there, signing for Yeovil, then going from Yeovil to Donny Rovers, which for me was idyllic because it was my hometown. We was in the conference, and anyway, we won we got promoted from the conference playoffs, golden goal. So it was brilliant. It couldn't got any better. So gradually fell, and I knew I was suffering with injuries. So I was enjoying coaching on little bits, and I finished playing. I think I was aged about 32.
How did kind of the coaching stuff come about? Was it?
I think it was me just becoming a bit more realistic. Contracts were getting shorter. I was playing with Chris Wilder at Halifax. I thought I'd done really well. Told me I was going to get a 2-year deal. And then after pre-season, he said, you're getting a month to month. And that was me. I thought, I've got a family to support.
Security there, is there?
So I was enjoying coaching. So I gradually, just took my coaching badges. Like most parents get involved because the children. I had a daughter, started taking my son's team. And I ended up going back to Leeds as under 8s coach with George Graham. So, which I loved. It was great to go back to Leeds and try and bring back my experience.
Did that just come about from some of your contacts that you had?
I was running a junior team, and they came to watch, and they really wanted to sign my son.
Right.
So they thought we can get both here. So they dropped on their feet, and we probably dropped on his feet as well. So from Leeds, I worked my way up the coaching ladder. I got more experienced. I got more intelligent. Loved what I was doing. Was really passionate, about coaching and how I could help, not teams but individuals progress. So
what would you say, just obviously for the people that are listening to this, what would you say if you to say what your coaching style is? What would you say your coaching style's like?
I would say
see one of his pre-seasons. I'll tell you what his coaching style's like.
Press.
I would say my coach style is probably like my personality, vibrant, exciting. I expect people to play with flair and enjoy themselves. But there is an understanding, but when we're training, we're there to work, but the kids have got to be in an environment where they can play with freedom.
I think both me and Matt have had the pleasure of being coached by you when we were sort of scholars, and you was the 23s coach at Leeds. And we always just remember that you screaming on press, intensity. But everything that you wanted was just to be done with an intensity, wasn't it? And we speak about it's something we probably passed on a little bit. We say you can't really help kids making mistakes or anything like that. Like let them go play, but as long as they're doing it to some sort of intensity, that's all you can ask, really.
Yeah, 100%. And there's a reaction to give possession away. If you want to play, let them play with freedom. There's going to be a consequence, and that might be losing the ball or making a mistake. If there's a reaction,
we say it so much, don't we? Obviously, another series when we spoke about some things, so to speak, with parents and saying sometimes when we're reffing or whatever, we will consciously let things run, won't we? Just to see how the kids react. Sometimes, as you get older, something goes against you, don't you? You can't say, oh, well, I'm not playing now. You have to react to that in a positive manner, don't you?
Well, I was blessed. I mean, my youth team managers were Paul Hart and Eddie Gray.
Yeah, Paul Hart.
Paul Hart.
So if we played safe, it wasn't. Eddie wouldn't allow you to play safe. You had to play with flair. When you passed it, you had to stick your chest out. You had to have an arrogance about you.
Yeah, it's interesting because when you speak about your career, it sounds like such a crazy journey. When you then get into that role at 23 as the 23s coach at Leeds, and you're seeing lads similar to the age you was when you was 18, 19, 20, breaking through at Leeds. What's going through your head to help them? Because I'm sure you've come across players who think they're there or think they're nearly there, but you was playing in the Premier League at 18, and then you just spoke us through your journey of how quickly it can, things change. You can go from a real high point to a low point. How do you then manage their expectations as a coach when you're put in that role?
It's difficult, especially as 23s coach, because you're managing personalities, especially because you're having to manage players that are getting dropped from the first team. So they have to step down to you, so you have to deal with them because they're frustrated, but then you also have to deal with the kids that... it's all about dealing with individuals. Even I had kids who were playing at the 18s and 23s who were from Australia, and sometimes after games they'd have to be told in no uncertain terms they'd not perform well, but then you put your parent head on and your coach and you think, they've got to go home with a positive message because it's a lonely place, sat in your bedroom on your lawn. And I think no under 18s or player or 23 who's got to that level intentionally goes out to play badly.
No.
So we know the stress, and football's all about, mental health and how you deal with these things. I think it's, giving them your experience and, and just being there as a shoulder of support, to help them, but guide them and just try and take things on an even path. So even me as a coach, when I got 23, I was hell-bent, no, I've got to win this game, and then I get excited, and then when you lose, then as through experience, I just learned to take everything on an even keel, and that's even the same in coaching when people get excited about things, and I think calmness is a good quality to have.
So obviously you had that 23s role at Leeds. What was what have you done in coaching since then? Just talk us through whilst I was at Leeds, it was interesting. So I was 23s coach, and I wasn't, to be honest, at the time, I wasn't enjoying it as 23s coach. No reason for anybody. Just I like change. I needed something different.
I always had a sort of thing as once, because I fell out of the game, quite early. I got to the top quite, as a young age. I always had a sort of, my vision was to get back. And once I'd actually got there and got all my coaching qualifications, I thought, well, that's me. I didn't need to be under 23s coach. I just enjoyed coaching that much. So it didn't really matter where I was.
Almost prove to yourself.
It was sort of that. And then I didn't need to have... I didn't need to be at a club to...
You're enjoying what you're doing now, and talk us through where you're at the moment.
Yeah, so just from that, I went to Mousehole in Cornwall. So I was born in Cornwall, and they asked me to go down there and set up a plan. So they were step 7, and now they're one off the Conference South, but they play with a philosophy and intensity, what we spoke about. So it's great to see them. Now at the moment, I work for a company called I2I International Soccer Academy. So part of my role is I would go out to the States, quite often recruiting players from all over the world to come to York or Leeds or Newcastle and they do a degree whilst training with us every day. So 90% of our coaches are ex-pro. So we've got Colin Cooper, Brian Hughes, Darren Williams, Lee Nogan. So everybody's played at the top. So it's a great place to work, and I feel like when you've worked hard at something, it's quite a privileged job, privileged job to have.
No, excellent. No, good stuff. And obviously, I know you spent loads of time in football. Do you have any, keeping it relatively PG, any funny moments that you can remember from your footballing career or coaching career? Do you ever maybe stick out to you?
I've got lots, but probably I shouldn't mention on camera. But probably one which was funny. Probably not funny, but I remember we'd come back from an under-18s game, and it was at Ellen Road, just at Fullerton, and we used to park the mini. We used to train on the pitches, Fullerton where the car park is. So I don't know for what reason. After the lads had got off the minibus, I decided to get on the minibus and thought, well, I'll pretend I'm driving. So I started it, but not realise it was in first because I never anyway, it knocked it out.
What age are you here?
I think I was about 17.
I let Paul out.
But it actually, there was an Irish kid in front and it jumped forward and knocked him over.
Really?
So Paul out was like, oh, what are you doing now? So lots of them, but that's probably the most subtle one I could probably better off.
It's a good one, that. It's good, that. And obviously I know, you've got obviously a fantastic footballing background, fantastic, coaching pedigree. You obviously also are a parent as well, like you've mentioned. Obviously as a parent, what kind of, how do you kind of, with your kids now, and obviously I know we've played with Connor and stuff, what's kind of your advice to them, or has been your advice to them as
I think it's interesting. When I first started off as coaching, I was coaching my kids. I would probably say I wasn't a good parent as a coach. I'll be brutally honest about it. I think I put too much pressure on them. I would build it up inside, their performance, and take it really, really...
Yeah. It's easy to say to parents, don't be like that, take the pressure off. But I suppose when you're actually in that position, you watch your child, it's tough, isn't it?
Yeah, but then I think just through education, going on the coaching programmes that I learned, things like going to the game, they're under enough pressure, they're getting enough advice from the coach. Yeah. I wouldn't speak to them in the car going. I'd wait till if they wanted to speak about it, I would. Yeah. Same on the way home. Yeah. I mean, we had loads of experience at Leeds. They used to think we was videoing, the game, but actually we'd be videoing parents just to see their reaction.
Yeah, and it's important. I remember when I first signed at Man United under 9s, the first thing they did was get all the parents into a meeting, and they just set like rules. So you watch from behind the line, or they have like the little strip of line that goes by. Don't shout on ever. If someone scores, you can clap quietly. But it's just straight away, you just know like the rules, and then going into like this coaching role now, we'll go to like grassroots games, and you've got kids like running up and down the line with their kid, and I was thinking, what's going on here? I've never seen this before.
I mean, it's good in a way, but then I think we've got to be careful. I think, you know what I mean? Parents are there, and that was one of the frustrations sometimes I had at Leeds. These are parents, and they deserve to be respected.
Yeah, of course.
And I think, one of the greatest ones I've ever seen, I think Leeds were playing, it was an under-12s game, I think Leeds were winning about 4-0. And anyway, Liverpool ended up coming back on 5-4. Next thing, one of the parents runs at the side of the pitch and does a Klinsmann, there's a pile on. But you're thinking, does that make Liverpool kids so passionate as they are? You'll have played against them, the passionate kids. And I think there's a fine line between parents not saying a thing.
It's hard.
There's got to be a balance because you want them to enjoy it.
Yeah. And because they dedicate so much time to it as well.
And I think telling them nothing is not the right answer. I think more information you can give a parent will help them ask less information off the kids in the car.
Definitely.
So it's a definite balance that needs to be there.
Because we always say it's interesting, like the car journeys are like the most interesting thing as a parent, aren't they? Going to and from training, and you almost know which type of parents will have which like similar conversation. You can tell which parents will be talking at the kid. You can tell which parents will be speaking with the child, and some just speak about completely different things.
I think, everybody ends up going on different paths and getting there in different ways. You read, in Carragher's book, he said his dad was quite on it, but then other parents don't say a thing. It's a fine balance, but the percentage of players making it, you got the kids at the end of the day, the young players, they've got to be there and ready, to enjoy it.
And what's your kind of, obviously talk about it quite a lot, and kind of, some people, again, there's no wrong or right or wrong answer. Some people say that kids should maybe stay out of academy football for, till they're a lot older. Some say that they should, if they've got the opportunity, they should be in it from a young age. What's kind of your view on kind of academy football and grassroots football, and what you think, really?
I think it all differs to opinions. Football's moved on, light years. The technical ability and the power and the strength of these kids has moved on, drastically. And it's become a huge business, so it's hard to. But I think you've got to find. I think me personally, I think it should be at grassroots till 12s, and then probably come in the system a bit later. But clubs would only manipulate and find a way.
To get people in.
But then when I look at players, some of the players who I worked with at Leeds who went on to make it came in late into the system.
Yeah.
So like Cressy, Casey came in late into the system.
If you come in later to the system, I think it's actually a fact where you do have a more percentage chance of breaking into the first team. I presume that's because as you get older, it's harder to get in. So if you're coming in, you're going to be in the top 3, aren't they, if they're going to bring you in. But like it is so interesting because you've just said like you was going to like holiday camps at 14, and 4 years later you're playing in the Prem for Leeds United. So
well, sometimes they can do it. You can go into all these academies and do all the bit. I mean, we know they've got to get there in all the four corners. We know they've got to do everything. But did me playing on the street and having to take 5 players on to score a goal and doing that every night for 6 hours a day, did that bring the things out?
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? Because sometimes there is very much that thing in there where you can be kind of overcoached, can't you? And you've got too much maybe, or too much information, or where you just kind of, not that you don't think for yourself, but it's like taking that freedom away to make those decisions in your own way. And obviously when you look at all the coaching manuals and stuff like that and all your coaching courses, they're all trying to support that now, aren't they? Where it's,
well, coaching's not pretty. If you don't need to put a passing drill on, and sometimes somebody from the side might not see that. Messy a messy session mean it looks bad can sometimes be the best. Because they're learning. Yeah,
no, defo. And obviously, kind of coming towards the end of our little chat, do you have any real advice to kind of young players, that are obviously really keen? We've got a lot of kids, obviously, with 2-touch that are really keen, that love the football and obviously they'd love to one day, obviously try and get to as high a level as possible. You got any advice to those young players?
Obviously, it'd be the one everybody try and enjoy it, and that's up for us as coaches to put them in that environment. Is to, I would say it's an entertainment business. So people, if you're going to get there, people pay to watch you. So try and entertain. That's the simplest way.
Great way of thinking of it, isn't it?
No.
Just before we finish, we will just answer some little quick-fire questions, Blunty. So,
here we go.
1 or 2 word answers if you can, as natural as possible.
Okay. Favourite food?
Italian food, pasta.
Nice. Favourite song?
How Deep Is Your Love?
Nice.
Take that and...
nice. Favourite
songs,
football team?
Leeds.
Nice. Night out or night in?
Night in.
Nice. Favourite film?
Carlito's Way.
Nice.
I'll go 2 here, so I'll split this in half. Best player that you've played with or against?
Best player played with? Speed, because I was his boot boy. I worshipped him as a kid, so I'd go Speed. Best player played against? I got picked to train with England first team against Moldova, Glenn Hoddle's first game, and I got asked to man-to-man Gaza, so I would say Gaza or Gaza.
Great,
I'll just elaborate a little bit further on what made Speed so good.
Well, he was just athletic. He was a genuinely nice person. He would have done anything for you. And he was good in the air, left foot, and like I said, when I was at Leeds, I was spending a lot of money, and Paul Hart found out. So I'd have to go every week. He took me to the Allied Irish Bank along with me.
Spending a lot of money.
So he took me to the Allied Irish Bank in Leeds, and he had agreement with the bank manager that I could only draw £10 a week out. So, but he didn't realise Speedo was giving me £50 a week as well. So it worked to that. So I saved lots. So
60 quid.
No, Speed was different class.
And what about Gaza?
He was just unique. I think he nutmegged me. I was really nervous for the training session, come down straight from a first team game, and as I've walked in, he's like gone, wow, Nigel Martin's love child. So he's absolutely carried me in front of everybody. But he's just an exceptional, unique talent, everything that you want in as kids to play like.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah. Good. And gonna move on to the next one. Favourite footballer or sporting idol?
Favourite footballer
or one of those, but
footballer or sporting idol? Footballer, I'd stick with that. There's loads of footballers.
Most famous person in your contacts?
Nicky Byrne out of Westlife.
Nice.
He played for Leeds.
Yeah.
Did he?
Nicky Byrne, yeah. Dinner with 3 famous people. Who would you have?
Elvis.
Nice.
Whitney Houston.
Nice.
Maradona.
Solid.
Solid back three, that. Add some wing backs to that.
And favourite or dream holiday destination?
I like simplicity. I like Villamora for nightlife and food.
Nice. And go to a karaoke song?
My Delilah.
Nice. Very good.
Perfect.
Lovely. No, that is all of those questions. So, Blunty, thank you so much for joining us. I know we've got a little drill that we're going to try with you after that is compulsory as part of our 2-Touch mini-series podcast. So I look forward to trying that.
No problem.
Pleasure. Thank you very much. welcome to our two-touch, you know the drill. 5 different shooting challenges. 3 shots into the big goal against my goalkeeper, Matty, and there's also going to be 2 different types of finishes into the 2 mini goals. So come take a look.
Yep.
Oh, nice, yes, back in here. First time is the big one. Good, got round, bro. Let it settle. Oh, great technique, drop in. Can have a touch if you need. Oh, you. Nice.
Can't believe you saved that one. I went every corner that side.
That was a great save,
Ruined it.